Okay, hello Cloud Gurus and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture we're going to look at versioning. So before we get started, let's just see what we can do with versioning. So using versioning with S3, basically this is going to store all versions of an object and including all writes even if you delete the object, and we'll see that when we log into the console. So versioning is a great backup tool, and once versioning is enabled on a bucket, it cannot be disabled. It can only be suspended. So you can only suspend it. You can't go in and disable versioning. You have to delete the bucket and create a new one to completely turn it off. It also integrates with lifecycle rules. Now we're going to cover that in the next lecture as well. So we'll look at how we can use lifecycle rules and versioning to move things to Glacier. And versioning also comes with MFA delete capability, and this basically uses multi-factor authentication, which can be used to provide an additional layer of security to stop people from going in and accidentally deleting objects. So to permanently delete something, you would need multi-factor authentication to do that. So this is Lab. Let's log into the AWS console and have a look at versioning. Okay, so here I am in the AWS console. Now if I click on services, I can see S3 under storage. So let's go ahead and click on there. I'm going to create a new bucket for this lecture. I'm going to call it A Cloud Guru Versioning 2019 RJK, which is my initials. Hopefully that will be available. And I'm just going to go ahead and hit create immediately. Okay, there we go. So it's created my bucket. Notice the different levels of access. So by default, our bucket and objects are not public. If we go ahead and create a bucket, the bucket and the objects within them are not public. So we do want to change that because we're going to need to look at all the different versions of our files. So we want to just click in here and go Edit Public Access Settings. Make sure all these boxes are unticked. Go ahead and type the word confirm and go ahead and hit confirm. And that will then change your access levels so objects can now be public. So let's go into this bucket, and the very first thing we're going to do is turn on versioning. So if we go over to properties, you'll see versioning here. It's the very first box inside properties. And let's go ahead and click on here, and we can go and hit enable versioning, and we'll go ahead and hit save. Now notice that we can only enable or suspend, we can't turn it off. So we now have versioning enabled on this bucket. Now we don't have anything in this bucket, so let's go ahead and upload a file to this bucket. So I'm going to go ahead and hit upload. And I'm going to add this file, and it's just is hellocloudgurus.txt. And I'm going to go ahead and hit upload. So now that that has uploaded, let's make it public and have a look at it. So we'll just click on the object and go make public and hit make public. And then we can uncheck and then check again to get the link. And you can click on the link in here. And there you go. It says, hello Cloud Gurus, this is version 1. So it's a very, very simple TXT file. So what I'm going to do is just go back, and I'm going to go back to my bucket, and we're going to upload a new version of this file. So I'm quickly just going to change this file. So let's change this file to say this is version 2. This is a better version, something like that. I'm going to go ahead and hit save, and I'm going to save anyway. And now I'm going to go ahead and upload this to S3. So I'm back in the console. I'm going to go and hit upload, and we're going to add this file, and let's add it again and hit upload. So that has now loaded the file. Now the first thing I want to ask you is, what do you think has happened to the permissions on this file? Do you think this file is still public, or do you think it is it's changed the permissions? Well, if we click in there and we click on the actual link, you can see that the file is now is access denied. So it has, by uploading the new file, it has changed the permissions on that file. You can't access it. So you need to just go back and basically go in and enable it so that it is public. So we'll just go here, go to actions, make public, and make public. And there we go. And then I'm going to click on the link again and click on the link again. And here we go. We can see that it says, hello Cloud Gurus, this is version 2. This is a better version. So if I go back, you want to be able to see the versions. And you'll notice that once we turn versioning on, we've got this versions sort of UI here that appears. And right now, it's not showing us the version. So if we click on show, we can now see our different versions. So we've got our version 1 here. And you can see the latest version here. And notice that they've got different version IDs. And also note the different sizes. So actually, the size of our S3 bucket now is the sum of these two different versions. So that's something to bear in mind from an architectural point of view. If you have versioning turned on in a bucket and you're making constant changes to large files, the size of your bucket is going to start going up exponentially. So do bear that in mind when you're architecting. Maybe you don't need versioning turned on, or maybe you need to enable a lifecycle policy to retire old versions quickly. We're going to look at lifecycle policies in the very next lecture. So let's go ahead and have, I'm going to go ahead and upload a third version. So we're going to have 3 versions. So I'm quickly just going to make a change to that text file. So it's in here, hello Cloud Gurus, this is version 2. Let's change this to version 3, and this is the best version. So best version. And then I might just add some random stuff in here just to make it even bigger. So I've saved that now, and what I'm going to do is go back over to S3, and let's go ahead and hit upload and hit add files, and we're going to upload this file and hit upload again. And now you will be able to see that this is now the latest version. It's 87 bytes in size. That was the previous version, and that was the previous version. Again, let's actually just test that we can access it. So if we click in here and then click on the link, you see we're going to get an access denied. So we do need to go and make that public again. So we'll click on here and go actions, make public, and go ahead and hit make public. One thing to note, if we go back to this version, the original version that we had, and we click on the link, we can see that it's version 1 and that it is still public. So when we're uploading the newest version, it's automatically going to be private, but the older versions permissions don't change as well. So let's click in here. We can see our 3 different versions. Now, if we wanted to get rid of a version or get rid of a file, let's actually just go to hide here. So we turn versioning off. If we were to click in here and go actions delete, what's going to happen is let's hit delete. So the bucket appears empty, but it's not actually empty if we go to show versions. And what we've actually done is we've just placed a delete marker over, and a delete marker is simply a new version. So we still have our 3 different versions in here, even though that we've deleted that file. And the way we would restore this file is if we go in and delete the delete marker. So let's go in here and hit delete and hit delete. And that has now restored it to the latest version, to version 3. Likewise, if we go in here and go actions delete, we can actually go in and delete this individual version. So we've actually deleted that version now. We haven't placed a delete marker over it because we've clicked on the show versions. And now this is the latest version, version 2. And if we click on that, we should be able to see version 2. So let's go to my exam tips. So what are my exam tips? Well, just remember that versioning stores all versions of an object, including any writes, and even if you delete an object, it's going to place a delete marker over that object, but the versions that existed before it will still exist. It's a fantastic backup tool, and once enabled, versioning cannot be disabled, it can only be suspended. It integrates with lifecycle rules, which we're going to look at in the very next lecture, and this is the most important for the exam. Just remember that versioning has multi-factor authentication delete capability, and this basically uses multi-factor authentication in order to delete a file. So if someone wants to delete a file, they'll have to provide MFA in order to do it, and this can be used to provide an additional layer of security. It's critical to remember that going into your exam. So now that we know about versioning, let's go ahead and have a look at lifecycle rules. So if you've got the time, please join me in the next lecture. Thank you.